What's up? How you doing? Here we are. Beautiful night tonight. Beautiful night. I have here some sage that I made. It's from Sicily, product of Italy, organic, all that stuff. And I'm gonna have some tonight in my cup. Just pour it in here. Give it a little spin. Alright. I made it with fire, so very hot. Very hot. Have to let it cool down a little bit. So, talk a little bit about John Mellencamp. John Mellencamp. Very solid rock and roller. I'm a big fan of his. I remember the song Jack and Diane when that came out. Back then he was John Cougar. Then he went to John Cougar Mellencamp, and then he just went straight to Mellencamp. I think Mellencamp is fine. I don't know why they had to go with the Cougar stuff, like he's a pro wrestler. Just you hear that? LAPD. LAPD, they go over my house. Delicious. Very good. Very smooth. Put it there. A lot of steam, you know, disrupting the lens. So yeah, so he was John Cougar. John Cougar. If I say that enough, I know it's him, right? Because that's the way it was when I was first discovering him. But just solid musician. Although now, I want to bring this up. When I hear him being interviewed now, for some reason, he doesn't seem to me as sharp as he was when I would hear him back in the old days. Like 1985, he would do interviews, Farm Aid or something, and he, to me, back then, sounded like he was sharp. His philosophy was sharp, the way he spoke, everything about him. Now when I hear him, I'm like, what's wrong with this guy? It's like, you know, he's not getting some things. Like, I don't know, just don't find him as sharp. But the music, even the music now, when he talks about it, he's like, I don't know, it's almost like somebody else wrote it, like it was handed to him from some mysterious hole in the wall. So let's see the studio albums, 24. I still buy his stuff. Like I constantly look to see, is John Mellencamp releasing new stuff. I'm a big fan. I mean, I love, he's a, you know, solid rocker. I keep saying solid, but hear that? 24 studio albums, 2 live albums, which is a little bit light. You'd think he would have had more live albums. Singles, right? Released 71 singles. Music videos 55, and guest singles 1. I don't know, is that the one with Bruce Springsteen? Now, studio albums. When I discovered John Cougar, is that the one that no, that's not the one. Yeah, that's the one. I see now where we are. American Fool. That's the one that I discovered him on. Look at this album cover. And that one was the one that had Jack and Diane on it. So he released Hurt So Good, April, then July, Jack and Diane, and Hand to Hold On To, October. Great album. great album. But there's so many. He's underrated. I mean, I really think that he should be even above where he is. American Fool. So let's see what this one is here. Crumbling Down. So this album was something like that, right? And it had Crumbling Down, Pink House's awesome tune. But like I said, when I hear him now talking, it's almost like he's not even a musician now. It's like some, I don't know, guy in my neighborhood. It's hard to believe that he's the guy that put all these things together now. I don't know. Back then, to me, he was, as they say, sharp as a tack. And I don't know if it was just my perception, but then 1985 rolls around and major album, all that Farm Aid stuff was happening, and he released a really, really good album. One of my favorite John Mellencamp, one of my favorite albums, period. I won't say my favorite John Mellencamp as if, you know, no, this is like one of my favorite all-around albums. Lonely Old Night, awesome tune. Small Town, another good tune there. ROCK in the USA, beautiful song, nice hard rock song. And then the one that, you know, I couldn't stop playing, Rain on the Scarecrow. I even have, if you go into my channel and go into the search, if you put in Scarecrow, I don't know what I named it. I'm pretty sure it has Scarecrow somewhere in the title. But I actually shot a video with that song. Ramble Seat is a song on there. Oh, and I even bought the remastered version, which is much better. When you hear Rain on the Scarecrow, the original, and then you play the remastered version, you can feel the solid drums in there. Everything is much more beefy. But that was such a good song. And who is that credited to? Okay, songwriters, John Mellencamp and George M. Green. Producers, Mellencamp and G-Man, I don't know. So that was a great album. That for me was like, you know, it kind of cemented my strong feelings towards his music. And then after that, The Lonesome Jubilee, another great album. This one had Paper and Fire, Cherry Bomb, both awesome tunes. Check It Out, another good tune. Cherry Bomb, who wrote that? He's a songwriter. I don't know, now when he talks, he's like, I don't know how I wrote it. I don't know how to write. I didn't know how to write originally any songs. I never wrote a song originally before I was signed. So they make themselves sound like they don't know what they're doing. You know, Billy Joel does the same thing. I hate that. They crap on their own music. I mean, he's not crapping on his music, but he makes it sound like he was a Mr. Magoo in the studio, like he was a Mr. Magoo when it came to writing. And that's not the case. I mean, the proof is on the amount of hits he had. Then after that, we go to Big Daddy. Now, Big Daddy, the Trax pop singer. Now you say, okay, that's a very simplistic song, but that song is great. Just the message in it, and I liked. Oh, it doesn't show that it was a single here. Let me see the song I liked on this album. Jackie Brown. I really like that song, Jackie Brown. And did he write that? Let's see. No, it doesn't show you that one. Then from that, we jump into the 90s. Whenever We Wanted, another great album. That one was a bit, you know, like I bought that one and I was in my father's station wagon. He had good speakers in it. My father even had an amp underneath. It was like a button or something you would pull and it would amplify the song. And I would pull that and everything would go up, the drums, the vocals, the bass. And this was a great album. This was hard edge rock, great great guitar on it. The entire album was driven by guitar, and I think that's his wife, one of his wives there in the picture. Producer John Mellencamp. Once again, look at this, the talent. Produced this album. This was a really good album. Anyway, so the singles on this were Get a Leg Up, awesome tune. Love and Happiness, my favorite on the album. Again Tonight, Now More Than Ever, and Last Chance. Love that tune. Love that tune. This was a great album. Now, here comes, after that, he goes out and records an album that I really played the crap out of. I love this album. Great cover. Human Wheels. The 12th studio album by American singer-songwriter John Mellencamp. Peaked at number 7 on the Billboard 200. So this song, I mean, this album has a song on it that I could not stop playing. Human Wheels, the actual title of the album, well, the song itself, Human Wheels. And let's see, we pull up some information here. Human Wheels, Mellencamp, written by Mellencamp and George Green. Great song. I love the flange sound on it, but everything about that song is like, you know, that speaks to me, that Human Wheels song. Great tune. Once again, all tracks written by John Mellencamp except where noted, and where noted would be Human Wheels and the last one, To the River. All the other ones, the other 8, are totally written by John Mellencamp. But that Human Wheels, I can't stress how much I love that song. Now, Dance Naked, that's where he does that duet. Maybe that's what they were talking about. Yeah, I think so. Another great album. And this one had the Wild Night. Van Morrison is the writer. Love the way Mellencamp did that. I just want to say, I get close when I say John Mellencamp. I almost sometimes say John Mellenhead, because in high school, for some reason, that's what I got used to saying, John Mellenhead, but it's Mellencamp. Wild Nights. Yeah, that's a duet. Yeah, good tune. So here we go now. We get to another one. So this album here was released, what year was this? 96. I remember buying this, and I remember being in a parking lot and listening to it over and over and over. Departure from his traditional sound. This was a little bit more R&B sounding, little hip-hop drum beats in there. Great album. Let's see what the... yeah, I Saw You First. Great tune. Love that. Once again, that's co-written with George M. Green. Must be a relative. Just Another Day. Emotional Love. Just a lot of good tunes in here. But I Saw You First. Man, you feel that? You hear that? You feel it. A really good tune. Delicious. But that was, like I said, a departure from his traditional sound. Had drum loops in there and everything, but it was great. Like, nice, like those kind of drums. Then we go, what happened here? We got stuck. Then what's this? Okay, this one I'm not too familiar with. It's called John Mellencamp. When they do that, I'm like, you can't think of a title? What's the problem here? You know, what's the problem? People name their albums with their name. Not a fan of that. You know, we know who you are. Name it something like McCartney 1, 2, 3. Just come up with something. Yeah, I don't appreciate that at all when they do that. They name an album after themselves. So then after that, Mellencamp, he started losing commercial success, popularity on the charts. He had a few, whatever, but there was not the kind of hits he was writing earlier, and I think a lot of that has to do with the way they play music now. It's not the same way. What was it? SoundScan that came in. Remember, Billboard had a different way of calculating how the songs were played and who was going to be on the charts and who wasn't, and how the songs were climbing, and that changed. What was it? Late 80s, 90s, somewhere. And once that happened, a lot of the rockers were not getting the airplay on the radios anymore, and they were not charting anymore. So, and that album, Mr. Happy-Go-Lucky, was, I think, his last. I mean, I'll check, but Freedom Road charted a little bit, but yeah, it was the last one that had a major hit. But I still appreciate him as an artist. I still, and I'll tell you this. So overall, all these years of John Mellencamp music, there was an album that was released in 2008 called Love, Death, Life. Sorry, let's try that again to get it correct. So in 2008, he released an album called Life, Death. This was always a mouthful, this album name. He goes from John Mellencamp to all of a sudden 50 words in the title. So Life, Death, Love, and Freedom. That's the title of the album. And it was released July 15th, 2008. This is probably my favorite John Mellencamp album. I mean, I hear the songs and I can feel them. It's one of those albums. I mean, I love the rest of them, but for some reason, this one, when it came out, even though he was past his peak on the charts, I felt like he recaptured something here. And I felt that it was an exceptional job that he did on this album. Produced by T-Bone Burnett. And I'll tell you, let me see so yeah, there was I liked all the songs on this album, but John Cocker's is my favorite on the album. I played that song so many times, but I really felt like he went in and he said, okay, I'm gonna do some quality work here, even though the radio stations are not playing my songs as much as they used to back in the 80s and 90s, but I'm gonna give it a good effort. And he did. And you feel this album when you hear it. But John Cocker's, love that song. Yeah, this one did not chart in the US. Australian, it was number 21. I don't see a charting position in the US. But yeah, it's got to be my favorite John Mellencamp album. Although the other ones that I mentioned earlier, really good tunes. But this one, I felt it in a different way. Let's keep going. I bought all these albums after that. No better than this. But this is where you find the real fans. These are people that stuck with him long after the hits. They weren't playing the stuff anymore on the radio, but I was enjoying it. So every time I go in there and I notice a new Mellencamp album, I would grab it because, I always felt that he did good work. Plain Spoken, I got that one. And he got all gravelly. Sound like he had gravel down here. In 2022, Strictly a One-Eyed Jack, got that one. I mean, just to see, it listed on the charts, top 200 at 196. And the next one, that didn't chart at all in the U.S. Other people's stuff, number 7. So there was a, album-wise, I guess people were buying the stuff. Album-wise, it was charting, as an album. But there were no singles off of these things. Other people's stuff, I don't know what he released off of that. Maybe the Springsteen thing, is that on here? He wrote a song, he did a duet with Springsteen. Let me see. Oh no, this is, so I guess these are older songs that he left off of other albums that he recorded and put them on this one, which is fine. I like that. They do that sometimes. They had extra songs left over. In the old days, they were more strict with that when albums, vinyl was being made, because they only had enough room for like 10, 12 songs. The vinyl, either that or you had to release a double, and that was expensive for the record companies. But now with, CDs, if you even buy a CD, or digital, you can make, 50 songs for an album and release them. But then, you're releasing a lot of filler. Nice. Yeah, the albums would chart, but the singles were not coming. Let me see this one. So this one here, Life, Death, Love, and Freedom, which is my favorite. Let me see what the singles did, if they even look at the chart. Okay. I feel like that guy from Quantum Leap, that guy on the side who had that little thing. That's how we are now. We got this little thing. Yeah, I don't even know if there were any singles off of this. Jenna, Mean, Country Fair for the Children, a brand new song. Just overall, good quality album. But, I'm going to say it again, John Cocker's great album, tune for me. And he's another one of those that he thinks that when he's giving a concert that he's going to discuss politics and everybody's going to be happy that he gave his opinion. I can't stand that. I don't care if I agree with you. I don't care. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear, I don't want to hear what you think about politics. Don't care. I come there for the music. I don't want to hear your intellectual side, I just want to hear your intellectual side when it comes to the songs. That's it. I go, how many times I've seen Billy Joel? Like 9 times, 7 times, 8 times. Not one time in concert, at least when I went, did I hear him stop and, I'm going to preach now of some politics. Not one time. I went to see Crosby, Stills, and Nash about, what was it, like 15, 16 years ago, somewhere around there. And Stills decided he was going to give us a little political talk, a little preachy stuff to us, the little children there. And I didn't appreciate that. I want to tell him, even if I agree with you, I don't want to hear it. Play your songs, and that's it. When I saw U2, Bono did that. But back then it was kind of like, I don't know, maybe I was younger and didn't annoy me as much. But yeah, he stopped to give us a little political speech with images in the back there on the screen, and he was giving his little talk, and he sounded lit to me. So I don't know, if you're going to give a little talk like that, maybe you shouldn't be lit. But he did sound lit. I don't know, I don't want to accuse him falsely. That's wrong. But in my opinion, he sounded lit a little bit. Yeah. So yeah, he did that. Everybody else that I've heard, I'm trying to think. I saw Paul McCartney the first time. He did not say anything political. Yeah, I guess in the older days, I don't know, they played their music. I mean, yeah, there were a few activists in there that wanted to share their opinion. But like I said, even if I agree with you, I don't want to hear it. It's not in that venue. You know, maybe if there's an interview and you want to discuss that kind of stuff, that's fine. You know, if you Rolling Stone asks you for an interview and you want to discuss, you know, your stance on Vietnam, something like that, that's fine. I will read it. But when I'm a captive audience in an arena or a stadium, I don't care what your politics are. I don't care. You know, and that's not because I disagree with you. It's because I don't want you being preachy to me, and I don't want you thinking that, you know, this is your time to talk to me personally. Just play the songs. That's why I came to hear you. That's why I paid all that money to hear you, but not to talk. Now, I appreciate the talk if they have a story about the music. Like, I want to explain about how a song came to be, you know, take a 30 seconds and say, yeah, this is how I came up with this. But the other stuff I don't care about. Not only that, no matter what you say, you're going to offend 50% of the people that like you. So you're only hurting yourself. But anyway, I think John Mellencamp is underrated, and I have never seen him live. I'd like to see him live, but I've never seen him live, and you never know. I may this time around. We'll see. But yeah, I've always appreciated it. And if you want to hear a difference in mastering, go listen to Scarecrow, the original, and then go listen to the one that they remastered. Play them side by side, 10 seconds of each at a time, and you will hear the difference. Big difference, especially in the drum. You know, you feel it. It's more like a mega drum. But everything improves when they master it the right way. Coming down to the bottom. So we're gonna have dinner now. And what time is it? All right, 9:20. I know, kind of late dinner, but that's the way it goes. So I'm gonna take a break. I may be back, maybe not. You never know. Capiche? All right, that's it for now. Ciao.